What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here, joined by my co-host Dave and Monty Brown. What's going on, fellas?
What's up? What's
Hey.
up, March Madness?
March Madness is here, folks. Just like Monty said, and man, it did not disappoint
Oh,
in the first round. Several big upsets. 3 6 seeds lost, almost all 4 lost, but 3 6 seeds lost, 2 5 seeds lost. And the most surprising ones was 2 3 seeds lost. Yale beat Auburn and Oakland beat Kentucky. The 3 6 seeds that lost was North Carolina State won their game against Texas Tech. Oregon beat South Carolina.
yeah.
And then
We saw that coming.
Yeah, we saw that one coming.
Yeah.
And Duquesne beat BYU. Yeah, that was I was flip-flopping on that one. Then the 5 seeds, I had freaking UAB upsetting San Diego State.
Yes.
It almost happened. I was disappointed at the end because UAB had that game and San Diego State squeaked that one out. But so I was a little disappointed. That kind of hurt me in my bracket a little bit. But the other 2 5 seeds that lost was, Wisconsin lost to James Madison. It actually kind of got blown out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the Grand Canyon beat the last game of the night last night. Grand Canyon beat St. Mary's. So St. Mary's was okay in the first half, but in the second half, yeah, Grand Canyon really turned it on. But those were some of the upsets. But yeah, so 7 upsets in the first round, and a couple of near upsets.
Yeah.
UAB, like I said, almost beat San Diego State, and Samford almost knocked off Kansas. Kansas is a 4 seed versus 13. Kansas was up big, like we're talking about during our pregame, and Kansas squeaked it out. They almost blew a 17-point lead in the second half. Monty and Dave, you guys are talking about the block, so let's talk about that. What do you think happened on that play? You think that was do you guys think that was a clean block and they shouldn't have gave Kansas the foul? How much time was left in the game and when that happened?
A little more than, yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
Maybe the refs got caught up in the moment. Kansas being a Power 5 team against this, assuming that I don't know, but it was clean. Would have given Samford a chance for sure. Like I mentioned earlier, remember the LeBron James block he did in the finals? It was better than that, in my opinion. Beautiful block.
He ran him down without fouling.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Good.
And go ahead, Monty.
Yeah, and maybe the speed of it, heat of the moment, assuming it's a foul, I don't know. Gosh, I don't know how they missed that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, being a football official. I mean, if you watch the play, the referee who's got a perfect angle where the camera's showing it, he does not make the call. It's the other official on the trailing side from the backside who makes the call. And I think he just went with the way the Kansas player fell awkwardly after the ball got knocked out of his hands, the dunk, and then he falls, because he's, out of control.
Good point.
But, there's under 15 seconds left, and Samford's got the ball going the other way at that point, down 1. So, big game changer, unfortunately, but, something could be said about possibly push off with KJ Simpson last night.
In his game winner,
creating that space
in Florida,
yeah.
We can talk about that game later. But that was probably one of the best games of the tournament. Oh my god,
that was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know why the official who saw it didn't call him off, because like what we do, what Dave knows what we do in football, like we can call each other off if we think we see the play, like, hey, no, like I'm calling you off because I saw this better and like it wasn't a foul or it was, whatever it is, so interesting. Did Hunter Dickinson play that Kansas's big man, or is he still hurt? He did
He
play.
played. Yep.
Okay, because I knew Kansas would be different with him being in there or without
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah, I
okay.
know he was questionable. Last I heard, he wasn't going to play until I saw that he was. Okay.
Well, I know their coach said he was ready, but I just didn't know if he would do it or not.
His
That's
shoulder's
interesting.
pretty wrapped up. I mean, not
Yeah.
wrapped, but with a brace and sleeves and such. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, wow, let's get into this probably the biggest, I don't know, arguably one of the biggest upsets. Oakland versus Kentucky, number 14 seed Oakland beat 3 seed Kentucky 80-76. This guy named Jack Gohlke had no D1 offers, played 5 years at some D2 school, enters the transfer portal.
How
No
about
one
that?
calls his name except for Oakland. Oakland was the only D1 school who said, "Hey, we want you to play for us." And look what this guy did. He made 10 3-pointers in the game, had 32 points. Was pretty cocky, like you said, Monty, but like in a good way. But I think it's because he didn't get no D1 offers and he's like showing out, like, "Hey, I can
Yeah.
ball." And so
Yeah.
he went off, man. Yeah, he almost set a tournament record. The tournament record is 11 3-pointers in a game, and he had 10, so he's the second highest. No D1 offers, so that's impressive. That's just why I said in a couple of shows with Monty and Dave and other guys, like, hey, kids, believe in yourselves, man. If you believe
Yes.
in yourselves, things can happen. You may not get offers, but if you don't chase your dream down, man, because that's what this guy did, man. He's arguably, people will never forget this. So I don't know how well they'll do in the second round game. But that's gonna be an interesting matchup. But he made 10 3-pointers in a March Madness game. People will remember that. But he had nice complimentary play also. Their big man Townsend had 17 points and 12 rebounds in the inside. So they have a good game. They have an inside game and an outside game.
Yep.
So they're not just all threes. But the crazy stat about Gohlke, though, going back to Gohlke, Jack Gohlke, is he's taken over 300 3-point shots for the year and only 8 2-point shots. That's a crazy stat. I know you have your 3-point specialist, but usually 3-point shooter specialists usually take more 2-point shots than that, especially if they get ran off the 3-point line, like they get chased off and then they drive it, in for like
Yeah.
a range shot or a layup. So I think that's interesting. He's only taken 8 attempts from 2-pointers all season long and over 300 3-point shots. Crazy. Absolutely
Yeah,
crazy.
it was fun. It was fun to watch. Just
Yes.
watch them moving around without the ball and getting open, and
Mhm.
yeah, it
Yeah, that game
was.
was well played on both sides. I mean, Kentucky
Yeah.
came up short, but that was a really good game. My dad said that was the best one he's seen in a while. My dad was watching that. He was like, wow, this is a really good game.
And this is what's special about March Madness. How many of us heard of Jack Gohlke from Oakland? And folks, that's not Oakland, California. That's Oakland, Michigan. How many of us knew that? I
Nope,
didn't.
I didn't know that until the game. Yeah, after the game. Yeah.
So this is what's so special about this time of year, about sports in general. We see players like this. We become fans of them. I'll be watching Oakland University probably from now on because of this guy. Just
Yeah.
like College of Charleston back in the days. I always wonder what they're doing. Uh, Butler University, when they made the Final Four, I'm always keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, their
stuff
player
like
made it to the NBA. He's still playing. I can't
right,
remember his name, but yeah.
right, right. So
He played
yeah,
for
this is
Utah
what it's all
Jazz for a
about.
while. I know his name. It's off the top of my head, but he made his name in the March Madness. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
not only that, but the Ivy League teams. I mean, when Princeton made that
Yes,
run many years ago, I mean, now it's like you know what you can expect in the Ivy League games you watch, and
yes.
then when they come into the tournament, it's like they're going to be a solid team no matter,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
Princeton was
Princeton
always
did it
good.
last year. Now Yale this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Yep. Yep. And think about one of the best players, 3-point shooters of all time, Steph Curry. I mean, plays for Dayton. Obviously, he has
yeah.
his dad, so maybe
Davidson.
he's a little more famous,
Davidson.
but
Yeah,
because his dad played in the NBA, but still, like Steph, I didn't know who Steph Curry was until March Madness when he had that huge, then had that big March Madness run. But like I said, he might be a little more well known because of his dad, but still, it goes to your guys' point that March Madness brings out players. Another player is Wally Zerbiak, who played in the NBA for a long time. He played at some
right.
small college, and they went off in March Madness, and he has a long NBA career. I mean, yeah, March Madness, you can make a name for yourself. So this
Yes.
Jack Gohlke guy, if they keep on winning, if they beat North Carolina State and he plays well again, that's going to be interesting because then they're going to be obviously the Cinderella team. So
Right.
we'll see how well they do against their North Carolina State. But North Carolina State is hot. But yeah, I love March Madness for this reason, gentlemen. But some other stats just for the game. Of course, Jack Gohlke makes 10 out of 20 3-point shots. So he shoots 50% from three-pointers per game. Their team as a whole shot just under 50%. They were 15 out of 31 from three-pointers for the game, which is really good. Kentucky was 9 out of 28, 32%, so they weren't very good. Free throws, Kentucky was 15 out of 20, 75%. Oakland wasn't good from a free throw line. They were 13 out of 23, 56%. They need to improve that if they're going to advance. They got to hit those free throws. Free throws are key in close games, but they didn't need it this game in a close game, but they're going to need that moving on. I think stats from the field overall, Oakland was 26 out of 63, 41%, and Kentucky was 26 out of 61, 42%. So they're pretty even. That's why it was such a close game. But Kentucky was better from the free throw line. But I think the difference was Oakland made 15 3-pointers and Kentucky only made 9. So it was a close game, real close game. The next big game, Oregon, one of the 11 seeds that won, like I said, 3 out of 4, 11 seeds won. Oregon beat South Carolina 87-73. Oregon's big man, who I really paid attention to during the Pac-12 tournament, he had another big game. This Dante guy had 23 points. Kuznar, their guard, had 40 points. And he used to play at South Carolina, so that was like a revenge game. Like, hey, I'm playing against my old team. He goes off for 40 points. He came from South Carolina. Oregon has a really good freshman point guard, Shellstad. He had 11 points. He's going to be something to deal with in the future. Yeah, I guess Johnson was their high leading scorer for South Carolina, 24 points. Cooper had 15, and this guy named B.J. Mack, pretty good player, was kind of quiet, probably their best player, but he had 13 points. He was okay, but he got into foul trouble. That might have hurt them a little bit. But Oregon was good from a three-point line, 7 out of 16, 43.8%. But South Carolina was good too, 11 out of 24, 45.8%. Free throws was the difference in this game. Oregon went to the free throw line a lot more, 24 out of 30, 80%, and South Carolina was 12 out of 19, 63.2%. So the free throw line was huge in this game. But Oregon was hot coming into the tournament, and they're still hot.
Yeah.
You guys got anything on that game?
Didn't see much of this game, if any of it at all. But yeah, I know this team is a team to be reckoned with. Have them going to the Sweet. Well, I have them giving Creighton trouble in this next round. I mean, it'll be tough to beat Creighton, but I think they'll give them trouble. But yeah, that's a team that could make the Sweet 16 and open some eyes there. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kuznard had a heck of a game.
40 points. He went off.
Yeah, he went off. And
he had a lot of three-pointers too. Several three-pointers.
Yeah, and inside Dante's a game changer.
When he's healthy, they're good. When he's not, they're not.
Yeah, and since he's been back and Oregon's been healthy, I mean, they've been on a roll. Winning the Pac-12 championship and
they needed that to get into the dance. They had to win the Pac-12 championship, and they did. If not, they weren't going to. The predictions were they weren't get in. They're going to be like the first 4 out. So
yeah,
they had to win. Yeah, they're on a roll.
So they got a tough matchup, but I mean, I'm not going to put it past them because they're healthy and they're playing really well.
Yes.
They're playing well at the right time of year. Absolutely.
Yeah, and what are the forgotten keys of a game is free throw shooting. You look at these teams, the higher seed teams, the 12s, the 14s, they're typically very good foul shooting team.
Yes.
Yes.
and
Keeps them in
that's
the
what helps
game.
keep them in the game. And when you hang around, anything can happen.
Right.
So
Yep. Anything can happen when you're an underdog and you're still in the game late in the second half. I think the pressure's on the higher seeded team, and you know, especially
yeah,
Purdue. But Purdue
and
answered
by
their call. But
hit those free throws,
yep.
at any point in the game, it's
Right.
gosh,
No,
I
it keeps
can't
you in
remember
it. So like it
what team
stops
it was.
runs. Yeah. Absolutely.
I can't remember what team it was last night. They were like 19 for 23 or something. It's
Yeah.
like just insane. And it kept them in the
Mhm.
game and they ended up winning.
Yeah. You need that to stay in it
Yeah.
when the team's making a run. Yeah, exactly. It keeps you in it. It slows the momentum down because you're at the free throw line. So yeah, making free throws is huge. Yeah, it stops the bleeding. Yeah, you need to make them from the line. If you're struggling, you got to make your free throws,
Yeah.
or just keep you in the game. Period. Yeah. Um, Next, number 11 seed to win was North Carolina State, Texas Tech. Kind of
Mhm.
just like
Uh,
Oregon, they won the ACC tournament, so they have a hot hand. Um, I had them picked just for that reason alone. I had Oregon
yeah.
and NC State picked in both of my brackets. I'm doing two,
Yeah.
but in both of them, I had both of them on that one. So I was riding a hot hand, and that it continued.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, NC State pulled away. It was 80-67. It was close for a while, so that might be a little bit misleading. It was a very good game, but yeah, but NC State pulled away. Mid-range, midway through the second half, they started getting a double-digit lead. But yeah, it was a good game. But the stats for that game was NC State's leading scorer. Well, one guy had Diarra had 17, two players had 16. I'm sorry, Millbrooks had 21 points for North Carolina State, so that's the highest score. But two players had 17, one had 16, and yeah, so they were like well balanced, you could say. Texas Tech, their leading scorer was Toussaint, 16 points. Some guy named I can't read my handwriting, but Isaacs, 12 points, and D Williams, 10. Um, Field goals for the game. North Carolina State shot a lot better, 27 on 53, 50.9%. Texas Tech, not so good, 24 out of 62, 38.7%. So North Carolina State was definitely shooting the ball better. Three-pointers, NC State was 5 out of 13, 38.5. And yeah, Texas Tech was really struggling from the field, like I said. That's probably what led to the double-digit lead. They only shot 7 out of 31 three-pointers, 22.6%. They were pretty freaking cold.
Mhm.
Then there was also a big disparity at the free throw line. Texas Tech was good at the free throw line, 12 out of 14, 85.7%. But I can't read my handwriting, but North Carolina State made over 20 some free throws, like 21, I think 21 out of 26. So they were pretty good from the free throw line. So yeah, seemed like North Carolina State was just better all the way around in
Yeah.
stats, field goal percentages for the game, the 3-point line, and just field goal percentages overall. They shot more free throws. I mean, Texas Tech had a good free throw percentage, 12 out of 14, but you know, North Carolina State went to the free throw line more and made it. So that probably led to the big lead as the game, went on. Let's get into the other big upset though. Yale versus Auburn. The second 4 seed to fall gets a 13 seed yesterday. Yale
Wow.
78, Auburn 76. Um, Auburn had a chance to win in the end, but the ball didn't go in. I saw the highlights on that. Auburn's guy gets fouled for a 3-point play to make it 78-76. I don't know if he intentionally missed a free throw, but if he intentionally missed it, it looked pretty good. They got the freaking rebound. So there's like 7 seconds left in the game. So I don't know if he was intentionally trying to miss it or he's going to try and make it a 1-point game,
Mhm.
try to foul and extend the game or go for a steal and foul. So I don't know if he intentionally missed it, but he did. And they got the rebound. Yale player makes a good block on the inside, but Auburn still recovers the block shot, and they fire off a deep 2 or 3 for the last shot of the game, and it doesn't go in. So like Yale just played some good defense at the end, and they were scrambling, and Yale holds on. It's only their second, I believe it's Yale's only second win in their tournament history. So
Wow.
congrats to Yale.
Yeah.
And, like Dave said, these Ivy League schools have been playing better. Princeton last
Yes.
year to the Sweet 16. Harvard's made some crazy runs before. Yeah, these Ivy League schools, man, they're doing well in the tournament. That's for sure. What do you guys think about that game?
Well, I think part of the reason these Ivy League teams do well, Dwayne touched on it last year about just there's certain teams that stick together. And I
Yes.
think the whole 4 years,
Yeah.
mind you, and I think this is what we're seeing here. Like we talked about Princeton running that pick and roll offense. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but they did that a while back, and it would just give teams fits, man. And they would get past the first round with that. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Man, but Yale, I'm surprised. I'm happy for him though. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, just like you said with Dwayne, like what Dwayne said last year, I think I touched on the show last week. Yeah, these mid-major schools, they stick together and they have like the camaraderie and they have the chemistry compared to these, 1 or 2 year guys. So it helps out a lot. And the tournament just seems more open than what's been in the past.
Oh yes.
When me and you, like, I think when me and you were growing up, Monty, when we met each other in high school, this seems like, the high seeds were always dominating. There was a lot of blowout games. Occasionally there'll be, I mean, of course there's always upsets, but it doesn't seem like there's as many as there is now. I mean, it seems
Yeah.
like the top
Not
dog,
this early. Yeah.
the blue bloods
Yeah.
dominated like when we were in like high school, college
Yeah.
age, like the Michigans were dominating, the UNLVs were dominating, the Dukes were dominating, like the North Carolinas were
Yeah.
dominating back in our high school days, it seemed like, so, but now it just seems like it's more wide open. So I love it. It makes it more fun for March Madness.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the David versus Goliath scenarios and,
Yes.
the Davids win. So
Mhm.
I love it. I think it's why people watch it. So
Yeah.
the other one was Duquesne BYU. I didn't catch that game. Not surprised. No offense to BYU, but I don't know much about them in basketball, so I'm not surprised that Duquesne pulled off the upset in that one. Like I said, no offense to BYU, but I don't know much about them. They don't really make deep runs in March Madness, so I had that one circled just because it seemed like that'll be an even game, just because I don't have much on BYU. So do you guys catch that game a little bit or see some highlights?
You
I
know,
didn't see it either.
yeah, I missed that game, but actually that game kind of shocked me because I did watch Duquesne in their tournament, their conference tournament.
Oh, it's Duquesne. I've been pronouncing their name
Yeah,
wrong. Sorry.
yeah. That's fine. And I wasn't too impressed. And so in seeing that, I had BYU in my bracket, but uh,
Yeah, I picked
it's
BYU.
um, so yeah, that one kind of surprised me, but a nice pleasant surprise. I always like to see those big teams go down to the
Yeah,
little guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have two brackets, like I said. So one bracket I had Duquesne winning, another bracket I had BYU. But the more important bracket, the one I have a little where's the money bracket? I had Duquesne winning, so thank God. Yeah, so I won some of the games I needed to win on the bracket where I have more on the line. But it's nothing crazy. What Jack and I do, and of course Monty has met Jack because we started our show last year with Jack on it, for March Madness. But what this one guy does, there's like 40 or 50 guys that join in. He actually has an interesting March Madness bracket. I think I told you about this year last year, Monty. But what he does is it's very different. You pick 5 teams per 4 regions, so you have 20 teams, and he gives you
Oh.
points off of what seed they are. So the lower seeds they are, the more points you get if they win. So I always pick a couple underdogs like Duquesne. That's why I picked Duquesne. I picked a couple other underdogs like North Carolina State, Oregon, because I knew they were hot. So I think the 1 through 4 teams you get 5 points per win. The 5 through 8 I think is 10. The 9 through 12 is 15, and the real dark horse is 13 through 16. You can get 20 points. That's the way this guy plays it. He doesn't go round per round like most March brackets, like how most March Madness brackets are. He goes off of the teams you pick. So you get 5 choices per bracket. So you got to pick 20 teams, and yeah, he plays it that way. It's an interesting way. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but I think
Yeah.
that's interesting because most people go round by round, and you get
Right,
more points
right.
the more rounds you win.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how my work bracket is. It's more traditional, round by round, but that's why this guy does it. But is this a $10 buy-in? So I put my $10 in, and there's like 40 or 50 guys played, so it was like a $400 or $500 pot, and first, second, and third place guys get the money. I think first place gets like 60%, second place gets 25, and I think third's like 15. So I haven't won it yet. I think my best finish was like 10 out of 50 guys. But I'm off to a really good start because I picked a lot of 11 seeds to win, and they did. So I got 15 points for all those wins. So I'm off to a really good start. So hopefully that continues. These 11 seeds need to win a couple more games for me. If they win a couple more games, I think I might have a real shot. I was like, I'm hoping
Nice.
with 11 seeds that they're my money makers for this. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my March Madness bracket. So the next upset, well, almost near upset, was San Diego State and UAB. Like, that was disappointing, 69-65. Do you guys catch that game? I was just like, man, come on, UAB. That was the other teams I had that I was hoping could give me some money, but they lost. Did you guys catch that game? But of course, we know what happened to San Diego State last year, their first ever Final Four. So I know they have a really good defense. Again, it looks like they're all about defense.
I was trying not to get caught up too much to this 12-5 seeding like we've done in the past, because the 12 has beaten the 5 quite often. I fell for it again. but but yeah, it was an even matchup. I mean, UAB has always had a pretty decent basketball program, and San Diego State made a run last year, of course, and they're pretty good this year. But yeah, that appeared to be a good game from the little bit I saw there.
Yep. That was a 5-12 seed upset I had. So I got the 5 and 12 completely wrong this year. That was my upset. I had, but like, well, at least in one bracket, but in another bracket I did have Wisconsin losing. So I did get one right. But in both brackets I did not have St. Mary's losing. In both brackets I had St. Mary's winning. In both brackets I'm doing with work and the money one. So yeah, I kind of struggled a little bit with the 5-12 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I, with the St. Mary's, yeah, I kind of feel bad for them being the 5 seed, having to go to Spokane. That's Gonzaga's hometown, so obviously
Yeah.
the whole
And
stadium
Gonzaga
was
won.
against them.
Yeah. They won their 5-12 matchup. They blew out McNeese State. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of a bad draw for St. Mary's, because I
Yeah.
had St. Mary's as well, but uh,
They had a good first
it's
half.
nice to see, because it's been a couple years since the 12 seeds beating a 5, so it's nice to
Yeah.
see that. I think the new upset is like a 13 over 4, it seems like, with
Right.
Yale
Yeah.
this year, and it
Starting to
seems
take
like
over
every
now.
year seems to be a 13 seed coming out.
Yeah. That's been coming on strong lately. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And obviously the 11-6s, because 11s, I mean, 11 seeds seem to be more of the hotter teams coming in that won a conference tournament anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
To touch on St. Mary's playing Grand Canyon, I was looking at doing a little bit of research on Grand Canyon University's basketball program. They've only been Division I for, I think, 11 years now. Not very
Yeah.
long
They're
at all.
pretty new.
Yeah, and
I
just
think
one
Marley.
losing season. Huh?
Oh, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead, Monty.
Very
Sorry.
good. And they've only had just one losing season. Just
Well,
one. So this might be one of these teams to watch in the future. They're in the old Western Athletic Conference. They've had one signature win against San Diego State this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, we might want to keep an eye out on this team. I know they made the tournament last year, lost the first round, but this is one of these up-and-coming teams, and I think we'll be talking to them about them for years to come. Yeah, they have a pretty decent basketball program, which, Grand Canyon University, you hear that, you don't pay much attention to, but yeah, they're a legit program. They've done well in their conference against other teams, and maybe this shouldn't be a surprise.
They've been in the tournament multiple times. They're always in it. They usually lose
Yeah.
first round games, but they've been in it multiple years, so they finally got
Yeah.
a win. I don't know if
You
there's a
know, and they have a tournament experienced coach in Bryce Drew.
Yes. Yes.
You know, not only as a player but as a
Yes.
coach.
I remember Bryce Drew.
So, yeah, I was actually surprised to see he was on the sidelines there. It's
Yeah.
like I thought he'd be at a little bit bigger school, but yeah, I mean, they play well and they played. I mean, it was fun to watch them play.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn that Dan Marley, that Phoenix Suns player, had something to do with Grand Canyon. I thought he was their first coach. Or is he like he's involved with Grand Canyon somehow, some way. At least he was in the past. I could have sworn Dan Marley was part of the Grand Canyon University at some point before Bryce Drew. So I could have sworn he was either the coach or I don't think he's athletic director. I don't know what he is, but I could have sworn he had affiliation with Grand Canyon. So big name people around Grand Canyon University.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about I won't say it's an upset, but arguably one of the best games of the tournament besides the Oakland Kentucky game was Colorado, Florida. Colorado won 102-100. Both teams scored 100 points. That game was electric, and
Yes.
that game was good from start to finish, man. My goodness, that game was good. Like Dave said earlier, KJ Simpson might have got away to push off for the game-winning shot, but he hit it in the corner. But he had 23 points to lead them. But Colorado's good, man. I saw them lose to Oregon in the championship game. I knew they were good. I knew they might make a run. I knew they lost the championship game. Like they are really good. But they have all kinds of really good complementary players. Obviously, KJ Simpson, their guard, is the best guy, but they have a really good big man in Lampkin. He had 21 points. De Silva is a very good wing player.
Yes.
Had 17 points. They have 2 or 3 guys that are going to the NBA. I think it's KJ Simpson, De Silva, and I think there's another guy that's decent. But I know they have 2 or 3. They're saying they have 2 or 3 prospects for the NBA. Obviously KJ Simpson being the biggest one. But
Right.
But they had Luke O'Brien with 12 points. Their freshman, who's decent, C. Williams, had 9 points. So they're well balanced, is what I'm trying to say. They can score. Multiple players can score. They don't have to rely on just one guy. So I think they're a very dangerous team. Both teams shot lights out from the field. Colorado was 34 out of 54, 60%. 6 out of 10 from 3. They only shot 10 threes. So that's a pretty interesting stat. 60% though, so they were effective. I think the one stat that is really big is the free throws. Like Dave said, 28 out of 33 from the free throw line. They got the free throw line a lot, 84.8%. Florida, their leading scorer was Clayton Jr., 33 points. They had balanced scoring also. Richard had 15 points. Poulin had 13 points. T. Samuel had 11. Some guy named Kugel had 11. So they had 5 guys in double digits. So Florida was hot. I put in one of my brackets. I predicted Florida to go all the way to the Final Four. My work bracket. So that bracket's busted. But thank goodness in my money bracket, I did not pick. I changed that around. I think I picked Florida to lose in the Sweet 16 in my money bracket. But Florida was on a roll. Florida did not play bad. They just lost in a really good game. But their field goal percentage was 35 out of 68, 51.5%, which is still pretty good. 11 out of 25 from the three-point line, 44%, so pretty good. 19 out of 22 from free throws, 86.4. That's, like I said, where the difference was, because Colorado was 20 out of 33. They both shot well from the free throw line, but Colorado shot a lot more free throws. They got fouled a lot more often. So, great game. What's your guys' thoughts? But that was probably the best game so far in the first round.
Yeah, both teams to score that many points, no overtime. That's good shooting. That's good shooting.
I was a lack of defense or just really good execution, but either way, it was an exciting game.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned you had them in the Final Four. Last show I mentioned that I changed my picks 10 times. The first bracket I did, I had them in my Final Four as well, and I'm looking it over, and I'm like, how will I end up with Florida in the Final Four? And I changed that real quick, but the matchup seemed right. I mean,
No, I
I
thought they
didn't know
could make
much
a
about.
run. I really did. They were hot,
Yeah,
and 7 seeds
yeah,
have made it to the Final Four before. Like those middle
right,
teams, like 7, 8, 9 seeds, they're tough, you know. And those
right,
games
and
are always
that's
hard to
why I have
pick.
him there.
Yeah,
So, yeah, but wow, I'd like to see more games like this in the tournament. It's difficult to score 100 points, in the college game to begin with. But man, I would like to see another game like that. Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun.
that was fun. That was a fun game, man. If you like offense, that was the game to watch because they were shooting lights out, man. Their
Yeah.
execution was flawless.
Yeah, I texted a friend with about 12 minutes left in the game. It's like first 1 to 100 in this game's going to win.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
obviously it took 100 too, but Colorado did get to 100 first.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
that shot Clayton Jr. had, that was Caitlin Clark downtown, man. Oh my
wow.
goodness, to tie it up. It's
Yes.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
yeah,
game was something else, man. That game was amazing. It's
yeah.
this Florida,
Just
Florida unfortunately came out in the losing end, but that was a great game, man. They have nothing to be hold their heads down about. That was just yeah. Colorado got the last shot of the game and they won. It's like one of those things. Like
and
whoever shoots it last is gonna win.
even though it's a 7-10 game, uh like I was talking earlier about free throws. I mean, both teams hit their free throws.
Yep.
When you go up against, seeds ones, twos, threes, they're more like 70 some odd percent free throw shooters shooting. So if you can shoot in the 80s,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you're going to stay in the game,
Yes.
when
Yeah.
as you advance. So see what happens.
I'll cover one more first round game, then we'll get into our second round picks. But I gotta cover it because I'm from Michigan. I mean, they're not my team, but Michigan State, Mississippi State, Michigan
Mm.
won the 8-9 seed matchup. Close game at halftime. Michigan State was up by 7 at halftime, but they won by 18, 69-51. They really came on strong in the latter part of the second half. But Mississippi State hung in for about 2/3 of the game, where it was a good game in the last like 7 or 8 minutes. Like Michigan State was just on fire. Um, but they have Michigan State has really good guards. I know they're like a little bit down this year, but they have two really good guards. They have a really athletic big man and Malik Hall, 6'8" guy. He's kind of their hybrid guy. I like him. I think he's a big NBA prospect. Um, yeah, they were just too much, and they shot really well from the 3-point line all game long. So I got the stats of that game. T. Walker had 19 points. Akins, very athletic, had 15 points. Their athletic big man, like their forward, like I said, he only had 10 points, but he still had double digits. But he's been coming on strong lately. He was on a tear at the end of the year, having like I think the last like 7 or 8 games of the year, he was averaging 20 points a game. Like he's been on fire. Um, but Michigan State was 10 out of 23 from the 3-point line, 43.5%. They only shot 6 free throws, 5 out of 6 for 83%. Mississippi State was 5 out of 10 from the free throw line. To your point, Dave, 50%. They really struggled, but neither team shot many free throws. That's kind of surprising. That's really low. But yeah, Michigan State dominated in the second half. Michigan's my team, but I do follow Michigan State because Tom Izzo, Hall of Fame coach.
Yes.
I'm surprised he
Yes.
only has one championship though. He's made it to the Final Four a lot, but unfortunately for him, he has not had a whole lot of success in the Final Four with only one ring. That's kind of surprising when you think about Tom Izzo. He only has one ring.
Yeah.
And I was back in 2000 when he had Mateen Cleaves
Dean Cleaves.
playing for him.
Yep.
Uh, I think Morrison, their forward. I think what was his first name? I know his last name was Morrison. He played for the Toronto Raptors for a long time. He was like a 6'7", 6'8" guy, kind of like this other guy I mentioned, Malik Hall, kind of like a hybrid. He was really good. Or Morris Peterson was his name. I'm sorry. Morris Peterson. I remember that team well. That's his only championship, believe it or not. They've lost a lot in the Final Four, but they made it there like 10 or 11 times, I think. He's been to a lot of Final Fours. Oh, my God. He's
Where
up there.
Draymond Green went, right?
Draymond Green went. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot
I've been the father of Michigan State as well. I mean, being a North Carolina fan, but they had this guy named Magic Johnson playing for him. I'm not sure if you guys heard of him,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, before Tom Izzo's time, but yeah, I like Michigan State because of Magic, and my all-time favorite NBA player is Magic. So Yeah, I've always been a fan of theirs.
Yeah, mine's Michael Jordan, but
Yeah.
yeah, Magic is a great player. Yeah, Magic Johnson, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird met in college, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so craziness. Some other, we won't cover stats, but some other blue bloods dominate. Let's talk about Purdue. They finally got over the hump. They blew out their team.
Yeah.
It was close in the first half. That's one thing I'll say about a lot of the teams. A lot of blue bloods that won, they did have some close first halves. Like Creighton was in a close game with Akron in the first half. Arizona was in a close game in their first round matchup against Long Beach State, but then Purdue was also. But it seemed like all these teams, like they were kind of. It took a while. It took a while for them to get going, but they had all of them had really big second halves and ended up blowing out the team. Even your team, North Carolina, they were up by I think 12 at halftime, 40-20.
Yeah.
So they were in a commanding lead, but they weren't. But it wasn't. The game isn't over at 12 points. That's for sure. Not in today's game with the 30-second shot clock and the 3-point shooting. So, but it seems like all those teams, got it really going in the second half, man. They dominate. All the big name teams dominated in the second half.
Pretty much, man. Speaking of big name teams, and I'm not sure who you both picked, but most people, the New Mexico Clemson matchup.
Yeah, I thought New Mexico played better.
Yeah, New Mexico came in hot. Clemson came into the tournament not. They lost in their first round against Boston College. Some people believe they shouldn't have even made the tournament. They got lucky, and they had a big three that played well. New Mexico's two blue bloods, Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. shot terrible. I think they shot like 29%, less than
Jamal
30%.
Mashburn Jr. I didn't know he had a son, Jamal Mashburn,
Yes,
old Kentucky
play
guy.
for New Mexico. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe those big names alone, we were kind of fooled by it. But New Mexico played well all season, and looks like they just picked the wrong time to play like that because they shot horrible. I think 3 out of 23 at the 3-point line. Jalen House is their leading scorer, 16 points. He only had 12. No 3-pointers, fouled out late in the game. So, yeah, it was a tough matchup for him. And that was my biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Clemson was the only 6th seed that won, and I had them losing too. The 6th seed that I thought would win was not them. I can't remember who it was, but I did have the 6th seed winning, but it was not Clemson for that reason. Because I know they don't have much in basketball. I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised New Mexico played as bad as they did.
Yeah.
You got anything on that, Monty? I mean, Dave?
I really didn't watch much of that game at all.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can't watch everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of games to keep up with.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some second round predictions. Let's start with the South region first. I want to say conference, but it's a region. South region. James Madison versus Duke. I got James Madison, man.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' things on this game? Monty, what do you got?
This is just because I can't stand Duke as a North Carolina fan. That's it's not the only reason why. I said James Madison would go to the Final Four because I seen him towards the end. That team's no joke, man. They're good. And this is a bad matchup for Duke, and I think they're going to beat Duke. It's a terrible matchup for Duke.
Well, Duke lost in round 32 last year to a very feisty, very defensive Tennessee team. Good defense. Yeah. They got beat up in that game. Yeah, I see Duke losing around 32 2 years in a row as well. What do you got, Dave?
I like to see the Dukes beat Duke. I like the way James Madison is playing. They're one of 4 teams to win 30 games or something this year.
Yeah, they were 31-3 or 30 on fire. Yeah, very good.
Boy, I'm going to go with my disdain for Duke, so I'm going to pick James Madison.
Yeah, seems like a lot of people don't like Duke. North Carolina is kind of the team. So, yeah, a lot of people don't like Duke. Yep. All right. NC State versus Oakland. I have a hard time with this one. NC State is on fire. But Oakland came off obviously a huge win versus Kentucky. Will they have a letdown or will their Cinderella run continue? I consider Oakland more of a Cinderella than NC State. Yes, NC State's an 11 seed, but Oakland is a 13 seed, and no one expected them to beat Kentucky. No one even heard of Oakland until now, like we were saying earlier. Um, I'm having a tough time with this one. I would love to see Oakland win it, but if they win it, I will not be mad. I'll be very happy for them. They'll be the Cinderella, but I think I got NC State win this game. I think they're on fire. I think their run will continue. I think Oakland will play well, though. I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I got NC State, man.
Yeah, this part of my bracket's busted anyway because I picked Kentucky, like maybe most of us have. But yeah, same here. I'll be pulling for Oakland as a fan, but realistically, NC State, one of the hottest teams, not if not the hottest team in the tournament right now, and they should move on.
What do you got, Dave?
Um, I was just reading something earlier today where if Oakland could keep this close, they're 8-1 in games 5 points or fewer.
Oh, wow.
That's
So, boy,
yeah,
and the NC State coach, I mean, he was on the verge of getting fired before this run.
Yes,
I'm
he
good.
was. Yes, he
You know,
was. He was. Yep. He saved his job probably.
this is a tough one. I'm going to go with Oakland on this one. I'm going to,
Yeah, like I said, this is very hard. I think all the other games are
right.
kind of easier, in my opinion. This one's very hard.
Yeah, I love the way North Carolina State's playing now.
Yeah,
I mean, they are on a roll, but boy, um, if Oakland zone can somehow shut them down and keep them from coming inside, I think that they can keep it close. And if they can keep it close, I like the record overall in the close games.
Yep. And one thing I forgot to mention about Oakland, my dad told me when he was texting me last night, with their big win or the night before, whenever they won their game. But you know, Oakland has won 14 games against Power Five teams this year. I did not know that. My dad looked them up after they won. So my dad gave me that stat. I was like, wow,
wow,
Oakland is a giant killer.
yeah,
Oh my God. I was like 14 wins against Power Five teams. Like, wow, that's impressive. In one season. Like, oh my
wow,
God. So they
wow.
play some teams. That's why it's no surprise they beat Kentucky when you look at it that way. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
and they're confident. I mean, their coach is confident too. I'm not sure if you heard him post game, and
Yeah.
looks
You,
like the
you know,
team has that the coach's attitude. Like I said, they're a
Yeah.
little cocky, but in a good way. It's in the good way where you want to pull for because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can back.
yeah. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, exactly. He's not. Yeah, it's cocky, but not in a way where you get annoyed. Yeah, like yeah,
Right.
you're right.
and what kind of coach stays at that level of ball being successful for 40
Yeah,
years at the
yes,
same school? It's like, wow, I heard that. Like, holy cow.
yep.
Yeah.
If Oakland wins, I will not be upset. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of rooting for him, but I think NC State has it, but you never know. That's a very tough game. Um, Next game, Marquette versus Colorado.
Mm.
Another tough one. Marquette lost in a round of 32 last year to Michigan State. That was a good game, but Michigan State kind of had the lead most of the game. But Marquette was in it. It wasn't a blowout, but Michigan State was outplayed them last year. I like Shaka Smart as a coach. Obviously, he had a lot of success with VCU, taking them to the Final Four. I know at least once. I think maybe twice, but VCU's been in the Final Four a couple times. I know that, but Shaka Smart kind of laid an egg when he was at Texas. Everyone thought he was going to do a lot of things at Texas Longhorns. He didn't do anything. Kind of got let, but then he's at Marquette now, kind of putting a name on them. This is another hard one. I don't know if Marquette's point guard is back. I forgot to look up their stats for their first round win, but their point guard was out the whole Big East tournament. If he's back, they play very well. But if he's not, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I forgot to look up if he's back or not. If he's playing, I think they'll be okay. But if he's not, I got Colorado winning this game. I think Colorado's hot hand
Okay.
will continue. They have multiple scores, man. They have a good big man. They have a very good inside-outside game, man. They can score multiple ways. Like I said, 2 or 3 guys are going to be playing in the NBA. Yeah, I got Marquette losing in round 32 2 years in a row, unfortunately. Like Shaka Smart, but if their point guard isn't right, I don't think they'll get very far. So I got Colorado.
It's a tough matchup for Marquette, but I have them advance and beat because of this coach, Shaka Smart. I
Yeah,
mean that reason. I mean,
I like him. Very good
yeah,
coach. Yeah.
yeah. I think he'll find a way to play Colorado, and it'll be a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup for him anyway, because yeah, they got
Colorado
these
can
dogs.
score, man. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And
Yeah, so yeah,
not just the first round game, but Colorado can put up points all year long. They're a very high scoring team. They're like one of the high scoring teams in the Pac-12. I mean, they can score, man.
yeah, they have a bunch of dogs on that team, man. It's a tough matchup, but yeah, I think Marquette will find a way to win it.
What do you got, Dave?
Boy, I have Marquette advancing, but I don't know.
There's another
I,
hard
I
one.
I like the way Colorado's playing.
Mhm.
And Marquette has been known to lay an egg here and there.
Yeah, Marquette did that
Um,
last year. Yeah, that's their problem. Yep.
so I'm going to go against my bracket on this one and go with Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the way they're playing is going to um, somehow keep their momentum going.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah, that's Marquette's problem. I love Shaka Smart, but they have issues in the tournament. There's no doubt.
Plus, it'll
Um,
help keep the outgoing Pac-12 undefeated in this tournament.
Yep, they're 5-0 right now. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Start opening up the show. I forgot to mention it. Yeah, Pac-12 is 5-0, and this is their last year, obviously, since they're getting
Right.
you know
Dismantled.
disbanded.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's go to the Midwest bracket. Purdue versus Utah State. Purdue finally got over the hump. They won a first round game. I still think their coach's job is on the line if he doesn't at least get to the Sweet 16. Utah State is a very good team in the Mountain West Conference, like you talked about the first show, Monty.
Yeah.
I got Purdue winning, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I got Purdue getting to the Sweet 16. After that, I think they won't get any farther. But I do got Purdue. I got Purdue squeaking this one out with Zach Edey. Their guards seem to be playing a little better than last year. But Purdue's biggest problem, like I said last show, is they don't have a forward. That's Purdue's weakness. Their guards are okay. Obviously, they got Zach Edey, the player of the year, but they have no forward. They don't have a good wing player, in my opinion. That's going to hurt them in the long run. But they will get this win. I think it's going to be very close. But if Utah State wins, I would not be surprised. And if Utah State does win this game, I think if Purdue doesn't fire Matt Painter, they're crazy, in my opinion. He has to at least get to the Sweet 16. I know he's been a coach there for 20 years, but the past 3 or 4 years, Purdue's just been stinking it up in the tournament. They have to make a run this year, man. They have to. They don't. I think he's gone. What do you got, Monty?
Yeah, Purdue, just because I'm sure they're tired of hearing can they, first round loss, second round loss. I think they'll advance past this round, and I have them ending it in the Sweet 16. So yeah, I have these two picks correct, but I think Purdue will beat Utah State.
Yeah, I picked Utah State in my bracket too, and Purdue. That's all. My bracket's alive in that one. Yep. What do you got, Dave?
Yeah, as much as I like to see Utah State win, I just don't think they got enough firepower for
Yeah.
Purdue to, right now.
Too much for them.
No.
I honestly I can't stand watching Purdue. I'm not a big Zach Edey fan, but you know,
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of dogs on their team. That's their problem. That was their problem last year.
yeah, right. And I think that's going to hurt them as they make the deeper run.
Yeah.
But for this round, I think they get through.
Yeah. If they make it a Sweet 16, I think their coach's job is safe. I think if he loses, I swear to God, he's gone. If they keep him, I'll be surprised. Obviously, I'm not lobbying for a man's head, but you know, this is 3 or 4 years in a row. If they can't get past the second round. How you can let this guy continue? Because then he's creating a culture over there where
Right.
they can't get past these first, second round games. You have to change that somehow. And the one way to change it is to change the coach. So he has to win this game. Next game, Gonzaga versus Kansas, another tough one. Obviously, Kansas isn't the same Kansas like Monty's nephew, Dwayne alluded to last week, or earlier this week, I should say, for the first round. But Kansas still is Kansas. Gonzaga isn't as good as they have been in the past either. I know they made a tournament 25 years in a row, but they weren't even ranked this year mostly. Um, Kansas isn't as good. I think somehow Kansas will squeak out this game. You guys are probably going to disagree with me. You guys probably got Gonzaga, but I still got Kansas making it to the Sweet 16. I don't think it'll get farther than that, but I got Kansas going to the Sweet 16. What do you got, Monty?
Yeah, I picked Gonzaga. Kansas is a little beat up. Their best players, not 100%. I mean, he's
Right.
hurt. I mean, but he's in there because just his presence makes him better. But yeah, I think Gonzaga will be too much for Kansas for that reason because Kansas is beat up. So yeah, I have the Gonzaga advancing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they good. I probably am wrong, but I'm sticking with what I picked in my bracket. I was about to change it, but I'm just going with my bracket. But Kansas isn't the same Kansas, and they're hurt. But Gonzaga isn't quite as good as they have been in the years past, where they've been like a top 10 team. So this game's interesting. What do you got, Dave?
As much as I hate Gonzaga and Mark Few and that whole
Yeah, you told me that before.
Gonzaga
I'm
Zags
surprised since
are
you're from
about
Washington, or you live in Washington, but yeah.
I actually don't think this is going to be much of a game. I think Gonzaga is going to blow them out.
Okay, I knew you guys would disagree
I,
with me because Kansas is
I
struggling, but
I just think with Kansas' health, uh, I saw a stat today where their 5 starters played 173 minutes, and they're playing in Salt Lake City in the altitude.
yeah,
Uh, I just don't think they're going to have the gumption at the second half. I think Gonzaga's going to pull it away.
you guys are
I,
probably
I
right.
won't be surprised if you see a double-digit game in this one.
You guys are probably right. Like, so I'm going with what my original choice was. I'll stick with it, but I know I'm probably wrong, but I'll stick with it. Um, Oregon versus Creighton, another very good game. Obviously, Oregon's on fire. Like we said, Oregon and NC State are probably the two hottest teams in the country. But even with that being said, I got Creighton. Creighton's got multiple players that can score. Kalkbrenner's a beast inside. He also has a nice pick and pop outside game. Alexander is a good guard. They have the big three. Shireman is really feisty. He's a dog. I really like Shireman in 55. That guy is like kind of like their leader in a way. Like that guy is just feisty, man. He can will them to a win. So even though Creighton can get cold from the 3-point line sometimes, like Monty said last show, but I still think they can still score from the 2-point line. They can go inside the Kalkbrenner. Um, that's gonna be an interesting big man matchup with Kalkbrenner and Oregon's big man Dante. Dante's probably a little bit more athletic, but Kalkbrenner is still pretty good. He's long, he's lengthy, and he is athletic himself. But Dante is very athletic. But that's gonna be an interesting big man matchup in that game. But Kalkbrenner can score in multiple ways, man. He has an outside shot and a post game. So I really like Kalkbrenner. I think it's gonna be a close game though. Could be an overtime game. I'm predicting this might be an overtime game or some kind of buzzer beater game. But I got Creighton squeaking this out and ending Oregon's run. What do you got, Monty?
Yeah, next to the Carolina Michigan State game, this might be the one of the better matchups in this round here. And
Yes.
man, yeah, I like Oregon's big man like you do. I think he's going to have an excellent game. And like I mentioned, like we talked about, Creighton's offense, they shoot a lot of threes. Very good shooting team. Everybody on that team can shoot. The problem with that is
They get cold.
and
Yeah.
it's
But
usually
they have a
everybody.
2-point game though. Like I said, they go to inside.
Yeah, so but I think Creighton's got to continue with the hot shooting, and it's going to be a close one. Barely winning this game, barely.
Right, you got Creighton barely winning it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same with me. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I think Creighton's going to end up taking this one. As much as I like the way Oregon's playing and such, I think I got Creighton going to the Elite Eight for me, in one of my brackets.
Yeah.
So I just think that they're too sound.
Yeah. They have a very good coach in McDermott too. They're
Yeah,
very well coached.
yeah. I've always liked McDermott. He's always got his teams ready, and we'll see what happens. But if Dante plays the way he did last game, and has been playing since he's come back healthy. Who knows?
Yeah, that's going
It's
to make it
like
very
Monty
interesting.
said, this is going to be, I think, one of the better games of the day. It's going to
It
be
will
pretty
be.
close.
Yes,
Yeah,
this is going to be a very good game.
yeah,
Yeah, very good big man matchup.
yep.
Next game in the Midwest before we move on to the East. Texas versus Tennessee, another intriguing matchup. Texas is not as good as they were last year going to the Elite Eight. Tennessee has tournament problems left and right. They did make it to the Sweet 16 last year. They've only been to one Elite Eight appearance in their history with Bruce Pearl. But even as horrible as a team in Tennessee is in the big dance here, I think Tennessee will squeak this out because Texas isn't as good as they were last year. Tennessee's defense is really good, and they can score fast. They do score a lot of points. They have a high powered offense. They got all kinds of shooters out there. They have a good big man. So I think Tennessee will win to get to their second Sweet 16 2 years in a row. I don't know how far they'll get after that, but I do think Tennessee will get to will get to back Sweet 16s. What do you got, Monty?
I thought Texas. Well, I didn't think they would lose to them, but I thought they would have more trouble with Colorado State than they did. Colorado
Yeah.
State played that play-in game very well, and
Yes.
I expected them to give Texas trouble, but Texas played well. Coach Rodney Terry, UTEP coach.
Yep. You told me that
That
last year.
team
Yeah.
played well. But yeah, this team isn't as good as I'm speaking to Texas now. They're not as good as what they were last year, like you mentioned, but they're still good. But man, yeah, Tennessee's defense smothered, and it's going to give Texas a hard time. So I have Tennessee winning.
What you got, Dave?
Hang on, let me unmute. I got Tennessee. I just I don't think this is going to be a very close game today.
Yeah.
I actually have in one of my two brackets Tennessee winning it all.
Yeah.
I just like with Connect.
That'll be something they did that. Yeah. Wow.
That'd be tough.
Yeah,
That would get the monkey off their back. Yeah, that's for sure.
but just the way they're playing and Connect is, I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah, Dwayne was
Yeah.
talking about that last show. This kid's come out of nowhere. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think Tennessee wins pretty easily in this game.
I think this could be a blowout game, like you said. All right, let's move to the East. This will probably be another blowout game. UConn versus Northwestern. Northwestern played good the 8 versus 9 matchup against Florida Atlantic, and Florida Atlantic was one of the Florida Atlantic and San Diego State were the two Cinderella teams in the Final Four last year, but I knew they wouldn't do it 2 years in a row. So I had Northwestern beating Florida Atlantic, but I don't think there's no way Northwestern is going to compete with UConn. UConn dominated their first round matchup like we expected, 1 versus 16. They're up like almost like 40 points at halftime. I mean, they were just killing that poor team.
Yeah.
UConn is very good, man. They could go back to back for the first time in a while, like we said last show, since Florida in 2006 and 7. This is going to be a blowout game. If Northwestern's in this game, I'll be surprised. I got UConn all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, UConn's big, strong, physical, athletic, practically no weakness. They shouldn't have any trouble here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an easy one. This is one of the easier picks.
Yeah.
Here's a more intriguing one. San Diego State versus Yale. Can San Diego State make it to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row? Yale is hot, obviously. So this is another hard pick because both teams are kind of underdogs in a way. Well, San Diego State's a 5 seed, so I won't say they're underdog, but they're not a big powerhouse school.
Right.
I got Yale picking off the upset. I think an Ivy League team will make it to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row like Princeton did last year. I got Yale with the upset. San Diego State has a really good defense. Yale has this guy. I had his stats written down from last game, but Paula Duquesne, something. He had 28 points. He could shoot the threes like crazy. I think he'll have another. I think this Yale guy, this shooter they got, will have another good game. I think Yale will pull off the upset. So, what do you got, Monty?
I'm going to be watching this game, just pulling for Yale, hoping they win the game. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be watching this one as a fan. I do have San Diego State in my bracket winning, but I'll be watching, hoping Yale can win this. I'd like to see stir the pot a little bit. That's what March Madness is all about.
Yep. What do you got, Dave? You're on mute again.
Sorry.
Go.
That better? Okay.
Yeah, I see your lips moving, but I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh, he's okay.
I like San Diego State. I like their story with just coming out of nowhere to make
Yeah,
get to the
last year was
championship game
awesome. Yeah,
last year.
last year was awesome. That was a great Final Four last year. Yeah,
Uh, but I'm pulling for Yale. Uh, I'd like to see another Ivy League team make Sweet 16.
same here, brother. Yeah.
Um, yeah, Yale won't Yale can't turn the ball over like they did against Auburn. Um, that's
Yeah, they did turn turnovers.
typically Ivy League teams don't, so that kind of surprised me. But
They might have been
uh,
nervous. Auburn has a really good defense, though. Auburn has always been a very good defensive team with Bruce Pearl. That's what they're
yeah,
known
but same with
for.
San Diego State though too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they pride
Yes.
themselves on. So I'm pulling for Yale. We'll see how it goes.
All right. I'll say their name right this time. Duquesne versus Illinois. I'll say Duquesne, like how it's pronounced. I was going syllable by syllable. Duquesne. Uh, Illinois has lost in the round of 32 like 2 or 3 years in a row. That's Illinois' problem. I do think they will get over the hump finally this year because they have the same problem kind of Purdue has. They always make the tournament, but they just don't get far. But Illinois has got a really good guard, very good guard. I know there was some controversy around him this year. I don't know what was going on with him, but I don't know, but had something going on with him. But he's a very good player. He put up big points in their first round win. He's very good. He's very fast, man. Man, that guy, his freaking speed is unreal. He could run up and down the court. I think Illinois will pull past Duquesne. They have other players besides him. Illinois has a good big man. They have other shooters out there besides their best guard, like I was telling about. But Illinois is a very good team. They just have tournament problems. I think they will finally answer that this year, and they will make a Sweet 16 and beat Duquesne. What do you got, Monty?
Yeah. This is the best Illinois team they've had in quite a while. This is a team that could make a run to the Final Four. Could beat anybody. So
Yeah.
they should beat Duquesne.
What do you got, Dave?
Totally agree. Yeah, Illinois is going pretty far as well. So
Yep. All right. Last East game. Iowa State, another very hot team, blew out everyone in their conference tournament, blew out some big name teams, Houston being one of them. Iowa State versus Wazoo. Yeah, they beat up Baylor Iowa State beat up Baylor and Houston in their tournament. Wow, they beat the brakes off both of them. Wazoo, my son's school, representing them, but Wazoo's run will end. This could be a blowout game. But I got Iowa State advancing. Yeah, it could be a blowout, but Wazoo might play it tough. You never know. They were the number 2 Pac-12 team this year, so they are decent. They're ranked. I think they just broke into the top 20, the top 25 at the end of the year. So Wazoo is decent. So I won't say no game is ever easy, but the way Iowa State's playing, I just can't pick against them right now. Iowa State is on fire. So I got Iowa State. What about you, Monty?
Yeah, like I talked about, Iowa State can easily be a number 1 seed. They've been playing like it, and yeah, I think they might blow out Washington State. To be honest with you.
Yeah, this could be a blowout game. Like I said, it could be. Yeah. What do you got, Dave?
yeah, it's as much as I like to see Washington State win. I just don't think that the way they're playing now, that they can compete with Iowa State. Maybe if it was earlier in the season when they were on that roll,
Yeah,
but
they're
now
not playing
being
as good.
4-3 in their last 7, it's like they're just not playing that well. And
no, they're not. No.
but so I just don't think it'd probably be a double-digit win for Iowa State the way they're playing.
Yep. All right, let's go to the West. Probably the best game of today, at least North Carolina versus Michigan State. 2 blue bloods going at 2 very historic programs. Man, the history with these 2 teams is insane. It's unreal, man. God, I want Michigan State to win, obviously, because I want the Big Ten to do well in the tournament, but I got North Carolina. They're just too good, too strong. As long as North Carolina's big man doesn't get in foul trouble, I think it's going to be a close game. Michigan State is going to give them all they can handle. Michigan State's a little bit down this year compared to recent years. They're still very good. They have the guards to do it. Like they have a good forward, like I said, Malik Hall. They have the players to match up with North Carolina, but North Carolina's just too good, man. And North Carolina's big man is a freaking absolute beast if he's not in foul trouble. What's his name? Make it something.
Baycott.
Baycott.
Mondo Baycott.
That guy is a handful, man.
Yeah.
I got North Carolina in this one. I got North Carolina winning the whole thing in my work bracket, so I'm going North Carolina.
Wow. This is bite my nose here on this one.
Yeah.
It's a tough matchup, man. I was afraid of this one. Izzo has his team played well, always gets up for games like this against North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I do have North Carolina advancing, but not with the utmost confidence. I have UConn winning in my bracket, but of course I want, as a fan, I would like North Carolina to win it, but I have them to win this barely. But yeah, I'm worried.
Okay, what do you got, Dave?
Well, Michigan State ended up blowing my perfect bracket game one right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So,
I had them win.
I had
They got at least
Mississippi
one
State
win.
beating them. I'm going to go with Michigan State on this one. I just think this is kind of a bad matchup for North Carolina.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Michigan State's very athletic, very athletic.
Yeah, I mean, if they can keep the score low, under 70, then I think that, if they can keep North Carolina under 70, I mean, I'm just reading a stat here. They're 17-4. Michigan State is with the opponents under 70. So it's going to be pace of play. See if
if North Carolina pushes it, they'll win. If they
So if it gets into a fast-paced game, I think North Carolina wins easily.
Mm-hmm.
But if Michigan State gets slowing down, and I think with Izzo, I mean he's been around the block. He knows how to slow games down. So I'm going to go Michigan State in this one.
If you're right, I won't be mad. I got North Carolina, but this is a very intriguing matchup. Alabama versus Grand Canyon. I can't stand Alabama. I don't care what freaking sport it is. I want Grand Canyon to win, but Alabama is very good. I think Alabama win, but I wish somehow Grand Canyon would knock off Alabama because I just don't like Alabama. I can't stand them. I just don't like the SEC in general. I guess you could say I'm a traditional Big Ten guy. I just don't like the SEC, especially Alabama. So, come on, Grand Canyon, be a Cinderella team. But unfortunately, I got to think logically, and now with my heart, and Alabama will win. But I don't want them to. What do you got, Monty?
Yeah, I don't like Alabama's football team. Their basketball team, I don't. Either way, I'm not a fan or hater of them. I don't know much about them really, but except this team here, it's a good team, and
they're good. Yeah.
They're going to be too much for Grand Canyon. As much as I would like to see Grand Canyon as a 12 seed get to the Sweet 16, they're going to be too much.
Yeah.
I just don't think Grand Canyon can.
No, it's probably going to be a
continue the run. I'm not an Alabama fan overall either. Any sport, baseball, football, softball, whatever, basketball. But I think they got their move on.
Baylor versus Clemson. I got Baylor all the way. Clemson to get their one win, but like you said, they're not playing very well. But they did have a good win, obviously, against New Mexico. That might get them up and get their confidence back. But I got Baylor in this one. It may not be a good game. It could be, but I think Baylor might blow them out. What do you got, Monty?
Clemson does have a three-headed monster on their team, that three good players that gave New Mexico fits, but Baylor has five good, all of them. So I think Baylor should come out on top on that one.
Yeah.
Agree. Yep.
All right, last game before we close. Dayton versus Arizona. Arizona's had their tournament issues. They've been known to lose first round games, but they had a close first half against Long Beach State, but they poured it on in the second half like a lot of the teams did in the first round. So Dayton got their one win, but I got Arizona all the way in this one. This could be another blowout. So yeah, I got Arizona.
Yeah, it's the first game of the day. It's going on right now. Arizona's already up 30-16, so
Yep.
I don't see it changing any different.
Nope. I knew it was coming on during the show. I'm glad you brought that up. Yep. What do you got, Dave?
Yeah, in my other bracket that I have, I've got Arizona winning, so the national championship. So I'm gonna have to go with them.
Okay. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. That's our first and second. That was our first round, recap and second round predictions. We'll see what happens, man. But a couple of good games today, man. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Let us know your picks. Let us know your choices. Who you got winning this whole thing, who your final four picks are. But we'll be back next week for the Sweet 16. Let's figure out a day to come back. But there'll be like a 4 or 5 day gap. So we have to figure out what day to come back during that break after the second round games this weekend. So yeah, thanks for watching. You got anything to close with, Monty?
Yeah, check this out. Well, 22 million brackets. There are no more perfect brackets. And you'll like this one. I saw this stat right before we logged on today. There are 3 brackets with 0 games correct.
What?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Because the number one seed's like, come on, you could pick the 1 seeds almost all
Well,
the
you
time.
can flip a coin and get one right.
Yeah.
So I tried to look, and it's from ESPN. It's legit. It's a legit step. 3 brackets that have none of them right.
I mean, even if you pick all the lower seeds, you're going to get one right.
Yeah.
8 right this time.
I'm going to look again and see how true that really is. But
That's crazy. I don't know what they're doing when they're picking. My God.
yeah, so yeah, check it out. Look it up after we.
I'm gonna
log
look at
off.
that now. That's
I
insane.
saw that. There's 3. I was like, who are the 3?
Okay. That's
Wow.
insane, man.
I get the perfect bracket thing. That's tough to do, but man, 0 correct. There's 3 of them. But yeah. Hey, thank you all for watching this. Enjoy March Madness, and we'll see what happens week 16 time.
You got anything, Dave?
No.
Well,
Just
thanks for
enjoy the
doing the show.
games and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing the show with us, Dave. Hopefully we get Monty's nephew, Dwayne, back on the next show. Maybe get some other football officials that were on these shows with us if they come back. I know Brandon's come back from vacation, North Carolina. I think he's very interested. So we'll try to have a bigger show. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We're out of here.
All right.